All right, so what is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit is really interesting because a lot of people have this idea that it's a purely Christian phenomenon, or I guess you could use the word phenomenon depending on who you're talking to. You know, you usually hear the Holy Spirit in the Christian world, right? And so a lot of people think, oh, you got to be Christian to tap into the Holy Spirit, but it's not true at all. In fact, the Holy Spirit it's universal, right? It's like a universal function. It's universal being. And it's not that they're saying this spirit over here is holy, that's the Holy Spirit, and all these spirits over here are bad news. That's not what they're saying. It's just one spirit. It's the spirit. It's the Holy Spirit. And what's interesting is if you're into quantum physics, they have something called like the unified field theory. Well, that's what it is. The spirit is the unified field. You know, it's everywhere, right? So the truth is, after the separation, right, depending on how you're looking at it, the fall from heaven or, God's dream, God's Leela, the descent into Maya, and the collective Christ mind believed that it was separate from God, right? And sort of had that feeling of shock, fear, and confusion, which we'll talk a lot more about as we go through the series here. The Holy Spirit was sort of dispatched into the dream, right? Because this dream, it's really heavy because it's being projected by the Christ mind, but it's not real, but it is heavy. Like it's a dream, but it's more than a dream. We probably need a new word for it, right? Which is why some people refer to it again as Maya or the Matrix or something like that, because in reality, none of this is happening, right? So God's in a weird position where it's like, well, if I react to this, then it's going to make it real. So he came up with a way to sort of like save us from the dream or wake us up, and dispatched something into the dream called the Holy Spirit. Now, the Holy Spirit is the only true, you hear like teachers of God or messiahs or gurus or whatever. The truth is there's only one like spiritual teacher overall, and that's the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. And it comes to people in different forms, right? It works with people wherever they are in their own like journey of awakening and their own like capacity to understand or comprehend certain things. Depending on how close you are to waking up from the dream and how much you want to wake up from the dream, the Holy Spirit's manifestations in your life will become more and more direct, right? Like, in the beginning, if you're a seeker, the Spirit will send you like books, right? That might help jostle your spiritual memory. Different kinds of teachers, all that kind of stuff. Different people, the whole synchronicity thing, right? But ultimately, when the student, that's why they say when the student is ready, the master appears. Well, the master is the Holy Spirit. And it could take the form of Jesus or Krishna or Buddha or any of these forms. The truth is the Spirit's within all of us. It's just that, a spiritual master is someone who has really just mastered themselves and their mind so that they can be like a complete open channel for the Spirit. And so they're physically kind of in their role, they just kind of merge with the Spirit, and they're just, sort of being used by the Spirit in order to wake people up. That's what a real sage or a guru or a sadguru or spiritual master really is. But again, the Spirit comes in many different ways. So, like in church, people say, oh, I've been filled with the Holy Spirit, and they start speaking in tongues and stuff like that. None of that's necessary. I've talked to people that said, oh, well, I'm Christian, so I know the truth and you don't. You're a blasphemer speaking to me. And the reason is because I felt the Holy Spirit in church. Well, the truth is, that's fine. You can feel the Holy Spirit anywhere. If you felt the Holy Spirit in church, wait till you hop on down to like an ashram or something with like a spiritual master vibing in there. I mean, they're gonna kick it up. Feeling the Spirit anyway is gonna be kicked up to 11 or 1,000 or something. Think of it like water or air. Right? It has nothing to do, both water and air have nothing to do with what your religion is or what you believe or what part of the earth you're on or even, what part of the universe you're in, right? Like, it's like universal elements, I guess. Well, the Spirit is very similar. So you don't have to become part of any religion to experience the Holy Spirit. You just have to want to, right? It's just in your heart, right? So any master, right, like again, Jesus, Krishna, what really goes on there is they merge with the Spirit, right? Like their ego disappears, right? And it's completely melted or dissolved into the Spirit. So they're there, but they're not there, right? Like it's really just Spirit coming through completely. And again, it's just to The goal here, by the way, is to wake everyone up, to heal everyone, and to bring everyone back to real reality, which is the kingdom of heaven, right? So that's the function of the Spirit. Any master is just a manifestation of the Spirit, right? Like if they appear, when Jesus appears or anybody else appears, it's because the Spirit is omnipresent. So it's just a different aspect of the Spirit. Different forms work differently with different people, right? Like you might, have a particular affinity for Jesus. You might have a particular affinity for Krishna or somebody else. There's masters that aren't as famous, right? Or as widely known as Krishna or Buddha or Jesus, but they're always on the planet, right? And it's really just about the spiritual salvation of mankind, but also of the world. So with that in mind, a spiritual path is really like working on yourself and your mind to just kind of like, ultimately is to dissolve your mind so that you merge with the Spirit and you're just a complete channel for the Spirit. Again, like, if you see, that's why Jesus was like, I'm not, like every master's like, you guys are worshiping me, but that's not the point here. The point is to, worship the Spirit because it's within all of us, right? A master's just able to like reflect that like all the time. So people mistakenly think, oh, that person must be like Superman or something, or they're here to save us. But really it's just a channel for Spirit. I mean, you think, when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, like, it was the Spirit saying that, not Jesus, right? Because Jesus was just a guy who became, right, awakened and one with the Spirit. But before Jesus, there was plenty of the Spirit existed. There's plenty of other teachers and masters and stuff like that. So that's what the Spirit is fundamentally. You don't have to speak in tongues to get involved with it. Frankly, meditation of some kind is the best way to commune with it. If you're interested in contacting the Holy Spirit, it's in you, right? It's more just like you got to go within your heart and desire it, right? Desire truth, or or pray like, show me my path, or show me where you would have me go, because there's a different curriculum for everyone, because everyone's different and it's like, it's like in math class or something, like different people, different teachers work better with different students, right? And that's okay. That's totally fine, right? But the Spirit will guide you to wherever you're supposed to be for your journey if you just go within and start inquiring and asking for truth, and doing a little prayer, meditation, getting in tune with the Spirit is really the key to everything. And that's why, even if you have a sage in your life, a realized master as they call them, they'll all tell you at some point that the master, it's not the physical form, and if you're initiated or something like that, their physical presence isn't necessary for growth and for the connection and everything like that. And that's what spirituality is all about. We're not really these bodies anyway. So that's pretty much what the Holy Spirit is. It's the one true teacher. It's like a universal spiritual teacher, and anything that is coming your way, like to wake you up or to inspire you, is coming from the Spirit. But you don't have to be a Christian to do it. And I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear that, but they've been so terrified out of their minds. It's time for the truth and to cut the crap, as far as I'm concerned, right? So that's it. That's what the Holy Spirit is. If you want to get in tune with it, go within, start asking, just kind of empty your mind, ask the Spirit, and you'll be like, well, it's invisible, but you can feel it. There will come a time where you can feel it, and it'll inspire you and kind of guide you and give you, it doesn't really talk to most people like a voice, but it'll give you like inspirational thoughts of different things to do, and it's kind of, you'll get the guidance. So what do you think? Have you had contact with the Spirit, or are you interested in getting contact with the Spirit? Leave your comments down below and we can talk about it. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.